5, 16, 19, 21, 30, 3 and 10. Check results. You remember?
Put a day again. I'm in my, what's his name? Joseph? And the Technicolor jacket or whatever. I don't know. I don't remember. All those places I went to, Christian primary school, Church of England, and all those, are they plays? I guess all those, what are they called? When you're in primary school, what's that called? Then when you put on those is it plays? Recitals? I don't know. Which like the parents are meant to go watch. I specifically remember, if I ever write a sitcom, I'm going to write this into it. They would like hold, or not even really auditions. It'd kind of just be like, put your hand up if you want to do it. We're going to try and equally spread it out. Like, this isn't an acting school. It doesn't really matter. You're all meant to be cute children, so that's kind of what we're going for here. But I remember every single time this girl called Rachel would play the main role. Maybe she was well behaved. They kind of discovered she could remember lines pretty well. She'd play the main role every single time, down to the point that on the Easter play, she was Jesus. She played Jesus Christ rising again. And now look. Obviously, we've got Black Little Mermaid. We've got like people taking, switching ethnicities and genders and stuff for different roles, right? And if the role isn't gender or sort of ethnicity specific, then it doesn't matter. But you got to see the primary school was ahead of its time. They really wanted to just try and shoehorn her into anything. She had the thorn crown on her head and everything, and we did it in a church, and she played Jesus. And you just think, at this point, what am I even trying for? I remember the one time I did get a main role was the Year 6 Leavers play thing. And I had the main role in it. And we didn't even end up doing it because everyone was misbehaving so much that they called it off. And low-key, I was like, thank God. Because I remembered 75% of it, but for some reason I didn't put the work in for the final 25%. So I don't know what I was imagining I was going to do. I just knew. I was just kind of hoping I'll get to the final 25% and then improv, I just I'll wing it like type thing. I couldn't remember, so I was like, oh thank God. But yeah, I don't know why am I talking about that. Oh yeah, because of this stupid jumper, right? There's been like a fair few amount of funny things that actually happened recently. They're like some of these things are like out of date because like I didn't want to speak about them in other episodes where I had like a lot to talk about, because it's like sometimes you go through patches that are so unbelievably dry that it's like, when I got a lot of good stuff, I want to make. We're sharing the love here because I know what it's like when you're in the depths. And you're like, so guys, I'm going to be talking at this speed today because I don't have a lot of things to talk about, and we've got to get to a certain time limit thing here. So we're going to speak very slowly. But now I can just sort of rattle things off. One of those things being is Kim Kardashian's pub crawl. Or so you thought. I didn't even see any of this come out when it came out at the time, which was Kim Kardashian was like, she's been in England recently. She's been all over the gaff, all over Europe. But she was in England. She went to go see the Arsenal game with one of her children. I don't know which one. She was drinking Prime. She was watching footy, apparently. And then there was this thing like, there was like someone who posted like, oh my God, Kim is so down to earth. She just randomly showed up in this pub and she said she loves Guinness, and now she's like literally just drinking Guinness with us. And it was like all these photos, and they were meant to look really candid. Like the people in the backgrounds, they were like kind of blurry. It's like you could see in the photo, like, when you take a picture flash on it and you got like the glowing eyes type thing. There was that going on, and it's like, oh my God, Kim's down to earth. She has a Guinness just like everyone else type thing. But then, she likes a pint. But then you see the behind the scenes of it, which is like there's big studio like grade lights, like not just like little key lights like for like you put onto a camera, but just like the big ones like rigging and stuff. There's like cameraman, there's like an 80 is like, oh, make sure all your things are okay. Apparently everyone in the background was like extras, and so they were like extras, and it was just like it was just a shoot. Like she probably hired out the pub to do it. And I saw other people talking about it on a podcast, and they were like, oh, but why are people surprised? It's Kim Kardashian. She has a reality show. Cameras follow her everywhere. Obviously, it's gonna things are going to be slightly staged. But it's like, that's a different thing. This isn't like, oh, we're filming Keeping Up with the Kardashians, so the camera people are here. This was like, oh, I'm on holiday in England. I want to post something to make me look relatable. So I'm going to go through the effort to hire out an entire pub, fill it with extras, but make them look like normal people. Like, this wasn't a television reality show thing. This was a photo shoot to look real, and like, she would have got away with it too if it wasn't for you rotten kids who like posted the other photo. But it's just like so weird because like the risk versus the reward type thing. It's like, okay, what do you gain? Maybe a couple people think you're slightly more down to earth. It's like, how down to earth are they really going to think? You know, you're a multimillionaire who got famous for a sex tape. You know, you got your ass pumped with fat and then you got it sucked back out again. I don't even know. It's just like, you kind of feel untouchable in a way. You know, you're kind of this sort of, you know, you're a celebrity. You're like the most celebrity there is, in the sense that if she was standing in front of me right now, it wouldn't even feel real. It's like, you're kind of fictional. You're like a dragon. So like, I don't really know what you want. And worst case scenario, you get caught and then you just look even less relatable because you're going through all this effort to like make yourself look relatable. It's like, you either are relatable or you're not. If you want to be more relatable, but the thing is, I can't say that. You either are or you aren't, type of thing. I just thought it was mildly funny. But I like stuff like that. Like, so many things on this list. It's like, you know, when you watch TV and you think that's unrealistic, that just wouldn't happen in real life, or it's just, or like, oh, this is meant to be satire of real life. Obviously, they're doing an over-exaggerated version of it. The Boys television show. Like, I watch it and I'm like, oh, this is fun. It's like satire and they're like talking about real life stuff. Obviously, it's dramatic, and it's like, it's so like, within the last week or so, just stuff I've been looking at on the internet. It's like actually so like, this stuff genuinely. It's like, it's all stuff you would see in the show. It's all like if I watch a television show and some of these things were happening in the show, be like, people don't actually, no one's hiring out a pub to make themselves up. It's just a bit, yeah, it's funny for the show, but I don't think it really happens. There's next thing as well, and some other stuff, which I'm not going to even talk about today. It's going to say that for tomorrow or whatever, but like, the other thing is Channel 4. I think Channel 4 is also the same channel they had. Yeah, it's probably the same channel. They have this television show called, what's it called? Naked Attraction, which is basically, there's like, oh God, it's like, how do I describe it? Imagine 5 pods, I want to say 6 pods. Imagine 6 pods. And they're all different colors, and there's the doors slide up, but they're set at different angles, right? So there's 5-6 people in these pods, fully naked, your own pod, and then there's someone there like with the host who is going to find a date based off of naked body, hence Naked Attraction, right? And then the doors slowly go off for each round. So at the first round, you just see like up to their knees, and I'll have to just base off that, like, oh, this one's looking well kept so far, and it'll go up to like, do they get to the waist by round 2? That feels a bit strong. They probably do. So then by round 2, you've got full on crotch, right, going on, and they're like, oh, that one's sitting on the balls. They always say stuff like that, like, oh, that one's perky, or they'll be looking. It's not just men in there. They'll do ones where men look at women, or women look at men, or men at men and women, you know, or men at women and men, you know, whatever they're desired, right? And then, you know, it goes up and up and in the face, and it's like, who do you want to pick to go on a date with? And then whenever they pick the person to go on a date with, they then have to go get naked and walk back out, and they both walk off naked into the sunset. This is a real television show that's on Channel 4 television, which you can watch on TV. It's weird. That's a show. And they thought, you know what? We've been making this show for about 5 years now. Occasionally we trend on Twitter because we have like an embarrassing episode and people like make fun of it, you know. What do we do for season 2? Like, well, not season 2, but what do you do as like a sort of, you know, extraction this show, like a sidestep, something like similar, but how can we top this? How about we do the whole naked thing, still revealing our naked bodies, but this time we do it to children. It's the boys. It's like, who pitched that? First of all, I want to know who pitched it, right? And I want to ask you why, mate. Did you want to partake in the show? I just imagine them in there like, how about next? We have sort of people going in there and they roll their naked bodies and we just do it for kids. And I was thinking I could maybe lead the first episode if we're having if people are struggling to find people to volunteer. I'll happily volunteer. I'll happily volunteer and reveal myself to underage individual. It's just like I don't. And they're okay. Here's their angle. Oh, everyone goes on about how we should talk more about bodies and sort of sex and stuff, right? And just like how the body works in schools, it should be more open and whatever. I feel like that was like right now it's fairly decent. I feel like sex ed in school, when I did it, which was however long ago in primary school. Was it primary school? Yeah, it would have been primary school and then that beginning of secondary school or whatever. It was the level it needs to be. They show you a couple videos. You look at the textbooks. That's fine. You know the drawings, all fallopian tubes. You know, you do all of that. You watch the videos. You have to sign the parental things that say your parents are allowing you to watch it and stuff. Yeah, that worked out pretty fine. You know, you'll be fine. You'll get through life. You know what I mean? And for the more ignorant ones, maybe they'll get a couple STDs here and there. Maybe they'll get themselves gonorrhea or chlamydia and they'll learn the hard way. But for the most part, everyone's getting through life pretty well. Maybe they could do a bit more on like consent, stuff like that. But in terms of the actual like sex ed of it all, like we don't need to be teaching the kids how to lay pipe, you know? This thing goes in this thing. It leads to this thing. We don't need to teach kids how to do it, quote unquote, well. I don't really know what the purpose of the show is. They're not teaching sex, right? They're just like showing bodies, and everyone should feel comfortable in their bodies. And it's like you can get that message across to children. I just don't see the angle of how important you really think this is. This is just like you're doing this because you know it's a good clickbaity thing. And so genuinely, what it is the kids are sitting in, and they have them sitting in like desks, like classic school desks. You know, they don't really do this anymore, but you know, where it's like the wooden bit in front, which is like connected to the chair you're sitting in. It's like 6 kids, and they tell them, kids, you're going to see some like wrinkly old saggy people. They're going to take their clothes off in front of you. By the way, I know like a lot of the kids who are on this show, their parents probably aren't the richest, right? They're probably going through like financial struggles. So like, I'll get my kid on the show to get some money, but it's like, it's a bit weird from the kids' parents' point of view to like sign them up for this show. Like they saw this advertising and thought, yes, sir. So the kids sit there and then the adults take their clothes off and they're just like, see, it's nothing to be ashamed of. And the kids are just there like, right, lovely. And then that's the show. And it's like, what next? Get them fully pulking in front of them as well. Look, that's how you do it, guys. And make sure you wear a condom. Look, guys, it's getting dark now, but you know what I mean? Like, who wants to get, you know, I'm already erect. It's just weird. All parties, it's weird. Whoever pitched the show, kind of weird that you kind of want to pitch that. Signing off on it, it's like, they're just greedy money people. They can see like, oh, this is good. This will trend on Twitter, good or no such thing as bad press. So that's that. Signing your kids up for the parents, kind of an aspect. That's thirdly kind of weird. And then the people volunteering to want to do that, like, it's just weird. Like, why would you want to get naked in front of... It just feels odd. And when I say children, I don't mean 15, 16. They look like 8. So that's just strange. These things occasionally happen. They just slip through the cracks. Weird shows like Cuties on Netflix, which I don't know what that was really about. It was like a documentary, or was it fiction? I think it was a documentary. It may have been fictional. But it was like cheerleaders. And, you know, you can see how that probably went down a weird road. But just strange things go on sometimes, man. It's just like... It's not going to... The show will come on, all the episodes will air. And then, yeah, it's like... I don't know. I just don't see... I just don't think it's necessary. Is this a hot take? I'm just trying to think what the show and trying to think what their reason would be, because they would obviously have something they would like defend back or fight back with and say, no, we're actually doing the good, because obviously their argument's going to be, we're actually doing a good thing. I'm just trying to think what their why would be. We're doing a good thing because this is actually educating kids on, but it's just like, it's just but you just don't need the just I just don't, it's kind of, yeah. But hey ho, what can you do? Well, you could kick up a fuss and do something about it, but what can you do? Talk about it on a pod. It's conversation, I suppose. That's all I got. Well, it's not. I got more, but we got to share the love, spread the load. I don't like that I said that. Yeah, man. This is 106. See you in 107. Don't like how I said that. I'm not gonna edit it out, but I am gonna say it again. Because why would I edit it out? Podcast. When like people talk about producers, firstly, I don't really know what they do, and secondly, I do know what they do. It's just that I'm like, they must be doing more, because I don't get how this is a whole job role. It's really like the whole editing of it, the whole mixing of it, and I get like people do it to a higher level than I do. You're sure, and I get like the whole they're googling stuff maybe for you, or like fact checking things. But for the most part, when you got like someone like I'm just talking about the editing aspect. The editing of a podcast is literally like a 5-minute, 10-minute job max. Like it probably takes longer to render than it does to even edit the thing. Anyway, let me say that again. I just didn't like how I said it. I thought it was a bit weird. It just didn't feel right. Thanks for listening. I should say that first, really. This is 10. I got it right the first time. Fuck, no. This is 106. See you in 107.
With the kids, and I had like 3 kids, and the geezer was probably on like maximum 20 bags a year. Like the most boring bloke you'll ever meet. Like,